He got two black women pregnant in the same city, and neither of them knew about the other? Now the whole of Korea is watching, but wait, it gets even messier. Let's rewind to where this emotional roller coaster really began. The wind was cold that morning in Seoul. Ada stood by the big office window, holding her warm cup of tea. She looked out at the city lights. The sun was rising slowly, and the streets were waking up. She wore her favorite brown sweater and black pants. Her heart was beating fast. She was nervous. Today, she was going to tell him. Mr. Minjun Choi, the youngest billionaire CEO in Korea. Her boss. The man she had secretly fallen in love with. And now, she was carrying his baby. She didn't plan for it to happen. It was one night. A mistake. A dream. But now it was real. Inside her, a small life was growing. She didn't know if he would believe her. Or if he would hate her. Or if he would fire her. But she had to tell him. She couldn't hide anymore. Across the city, in a cozy jazz bar, another woman was also staring at her phone. Her name was Amara. She was bold, beautiful, and full of life. People loved her voice. She sang with power. But that morning, her voice was quiet. She held a small white stick in her hand. 2 red lines. Positive. She was also carrying Minjun's baby. She remembered his soft kisses. The way he whispered her name. The way he promised to always protect her. But now he didn't even call. He hadn't come to the bar in weeks. She felt alone, angry, confused, and she had no idea another woman was going through the same thing. Minjun was in his office, typing something on his laptop. He looked calm on the outside, but inside, he was hiding something big. He had made a mistake. 2 mistakes. And he had no clue what was coming next. That evening, Ada took a deep breath and walked into the CEO's office. She knocked twice. "Come in," Minjun said without looking up. She stepped in. "Sir, I need to tell you something. It's important." He looked up at her. His eyes were soft but serious. "What is it, Ada?" She held her belly gently and said, "I'm pregnant." Minjun blinked. He stood up slowly. "Pregnant?" "Yes," she said. "It's yours." He opened his mouth to speak, but his phone buzzed. A message popped up. From Amara. "We need to talk. It's serious. I'm pregnant." His heart dropped. 2 women. 2 babies. 1 secret. And the world was about to explode. News traveled fast. Minjun's face was on every news site in Korea. Headlines screamed. Young billionaire caught in double pregnancy scandal. Black intern and jazz singer both claimed to be pregnant for Minjun Choi. His parents were furious. His mother, Mrs. Choi, threw a glass cup at the wall. "This is shameful." 2 women? And they're foreigners. His father slammed the newspaper on the table. "You're ruining the family name." Minjun sat quietly. He didn't defend himself. He just stared at the floor. He had broken something. And now it couldn't be fixed. Ada stopped going to work. Her phone kept ringing with unknown numbers. People sent her messages. "Gold digger. Shameless. Go back to your country." She cried in her small apartment. Her belly was growing, but her heart felt heavy. She just wanted love. She didn't ask for all this. Amara had it worse. The bar owner asked her to stop performing. "People are talking too much," he said. She lost her apartment. She couldn't pay rent. No calls from Minjun. No answers. No peace. Both women were suffering, but they didn't know each other yet. And they didn't know something big was coming. One rainy night, Ada was walking home from the hospital after her baby scan. She slipped and almost fell, but someone grabbed her hand. It was Amara. "Careful," she said, smiling softly. "Thank you," Ada said, out of breath. They both looked at each other. "You look familiar," Amara said. Ada looked closer. And then she realized. They were both carrying Minjun's child. Rain kept falling, soft and steady. Ada and Amara stood there under the streetlight, holding umbrellas. Their eyes locked. For a moment, there was silence. No cars, no noise, just the sound of water and 2 hearts beating too fast. Ada started. "You're pregnant too?" Amara finished. Both women lowered their umbrellas slowly. "Yes," they whispered at the same time. Then came the silence again. But this time, it was heavy. Like something sacred was just discovered. Amara's lips trembled. How far along are you? For months, Ada said. I'm 5, Amara replied. Their eyes widened. Neither needed to ask the next question. The truth was clear. One man, one secret, 2 broken hearts. They walked together to a small cafe nearby, ordered tea, sat down in the corner. They shared everything, how they met Minjun, how he made them feel special, how he vanished. I loved him, Ada whispered, hands on her belly. I still do, Amara replied, eyes wet. Neither woman was angry at the other. Not really. They were angry at the lies, the betrayal, the silence. But even in the pain, a bond was forming. They weren't alone anymore. The next morning, Ada and Amara walked into the big news building together. Cameras flashed. Reporters ran toward them. They stood side by side, holding hands, bellies showing. No more hiding, Amara said. They looked into the cameras. We are not just the intern and the singer, Ada said boldly. We are mothers. And our children deserve the truth, Amara added. The crowd went wild. The news spread like wildfire. The 2 women speak out. Minjun saw it on TV. Alone in a hotel room in Busan. Dressed in white. Tired. Lost. He covered his face. He had to go back. Minjun returned to Seoul late at night. He didn't call anyone. He didn't go home. He stood outside Ada's apartment building, holding a bouquet of white flowers. She didn't open the door. So he went to Amara's old bar. She wasn't there. He left a note. I'm sorry. For everything. Please let me make it right. But words weren't enough anymore. Meanwhile, both women were invited to a women's health charity event in Seoul. The organizer admired their strength and wanted them to speak. At the event, mothers from all over came forward, single, married, young, old. Everyone wanted to hear their story. Ada spoke softly, but with fire in her eyes. Even if he doesn't choose us, she said, we choose our babies. And we choose to live. Amara stood beside her, one hand on her belly. He didn't break us. He built something stronger. We're sisters now. The crowd clapped, cried, cheered. Even the media began to change their tone. They weren't scandals anymore. They were survivors. But one person wasn't happy. Mrs. Choi, Minjun's mother. She saw the event on TV and nearly fainted. They are embarrassing us. She called Minjun that night. You will marry someone from our world, or you will lose everything, she shouted. Minjun said nothing, just stared out the window. I already lost everything, he whispered. Then he hung up. Amara sat in her new apartment, a small, cozy place Ada helped her find. She felt a kick. Her baby was moving again. She smiled for the first time in weeks. Then her phone buzzed. A message. Please come to the Han River Bridge tomorrow at noon. I want to speak, no cameras, no lies. Just us. Please. Minjun. She hesitated. Then she called Ada. I got a message too, Ada said. They agreed to go, but only together. At noon, the sun was warm and the Han River sparkled. Minjun stood on the bridge, holding nothing. No suit. No bodyguards. Just him. When he saw them walking toward him, hand in hand, he almost cried. He bowed deeply. I'm sorry, he said. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I'm ready to change. Neither woman spoke. He continued. My family doesn't want you. But I do. And I want my children to grow up in truth, not shame. Ada looked at him. You broke us. But we healed, Amara added. Minjun reached into his coat pocket. 2 white boxes. 2 rings. I want to marry both of you. Not for me, for our children. For peace. For love. You can say no. But I'll still build empires for you. Silence. Tears. Then the real twist came. Amara stepped forward. Marriage won't fix this, she said. But we're not enemies. We're a family now, with or without you. Ada nodded. You don't need to marry us. Just be a father. A real one. Minjun wiped his eyes. I will. He turned and pointed across the river. 2 tall buildings stood side by side. One had Ada's name. The other had Amara's. Fully registered companies. Full ownership. No tricks. These are yours, he said. So our children never beg and never feel unwanted. Ada touched her belly and whispered, "Thank you." But Amara wasn't done. "There's something else you should know," Amara said again, firmer this time. Minjun looked at her, confused. The breeze from the river danced around them. Ada watched her too, heart pounding. Amara took a deep breath. "The baby I'm carrying, it might not be yours." Minjun's eyes widened. "What?" he whispered. Ada turned sharply. "What do you mean?" "I wasn't sure how to say it," Amara said, tears forming. "The same month Minjun and I were together. I also spent a night with someone else. It was right before Minjun came back into my life. I was heartbroken, and I made a mistake." Minjun stared at the water, silent. "But I got a test done. And it showed a high chance that it's his," Amara continued. "Still, I didn't want to lie anymore. Not after everything." Ada reached out and gently held Amara's hand. Minjun nodded slowly. "Thank you for telling me," he said. "I don't care what the test says. If that child needs a father, I'll be one. Even if he's not mine by blood, he's mine by choice." That moment changed everything. The two women looked at each other, not with jealousy, but with deep respect. Months passed. Both women gave birth in the same hospital, on the same floor. Amara had a boy. Ada had a boy too. They named them Taemin and Jadena. They had different skin tones, but they both had Minjun's eyes. The news returned again, but this time, not with gossip. Two strong women. Two sons. One promise of unity. Minjun was at the hospital every day. He fed the babies, changed diapers, told bedtime stories. His parents refused to visit. They said he was bringing shame. So Minjun made a decision. He moved out of the Choi family mansion. He gave up his seat at the boardroom. And he started his own company from scratch, built on values, not bloodlines. One day, when the babies were 6 months old, Ada walked into her office, the one Minjun gave her, and found a letter on her desk. "Dear Ada, I may never deserve you, but I will always respect you. Thank you for choosing to stay strong. Your business has already passed its first million in sales. Keep building. For Jadena. For yourself. I believe in you. M." Ada smiled for the first time in days. That night, she wrote a letter of her own. "Dear Minjun, I don't need a ring. I need respect. You've earned that back. Slowly. Carefully. Jadena deserves a father like the one you're becoming. Let's keep going. Together, but not as a couple. As parents. For now. Ada." Amara received a call the next week. A music producer from the US had seen a video of her singing at the charity event. "We want to sign you," he said. "Your voice has power. Your story has fire." She didn't say yes right away. She looked at Taemin, sleeping beside her. Could she chase her dream and raise him? Minjun offered to fly with her. "I'll come with you," he said. "Help take care of him. I can work from anywhere." It wasn't a romantic offer. It was a father's promise. And Amara accepted. Years passed. Jadena and Taemin grew up together like brothers. They shared birthdays, toys, and secrets. Ada became one of Seoul's most respected marketing experts. Amara's music career exploded, concerts in Paris, Tokyo, New York. But she always came home to Taemin. And Minjun? He stayed in the background. Helping. Protecting. Quietly loving them all in his own way. The media called them the family without rules. But they didn't care. Because they had peace. They had forgiveness. They had each other. But just when everything seemed calm, a letter arrived. Addressed to Minjun. No return address. He opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a photo of a child with eyes that looked exactly like his. And underneath, a note. "She's yours too. You left her behind." Minjun's world spun again. He dropped the photo and whispered, "Not again." Minjun stood frozen, staring at the photo on the table. The child's eyes were sharp, deep, almost like a mirror of his own. But something felt off. He picked up the note again. "She's yours too. You left her behind." His hands trembled. Was this real? He hadn't been with anyone else. At least, not since Ada and Amara. And he was careful. Always. He called his lawyer, his private investigator. He had to be sure. Meanwhile, he told no one. Not Ada, not Amara, not even his parents. For days, Minjun didn't sleep. He kept looking at the photo. The little girl had curly hair, big brown eyes, a dimple on her left cheek. She looked like she could belong to him, but he didn't feel it. There was no memory, no connection, just confusion. The investigator returned 5 days later. He placed a folder on Minjun's desk. "Sir, it's a lie." Minjun opened it fast. Inside were pictures of the woman who sent the letter. A woman he once rejected at a private event, a foreign model who had wanted to date him, but he kindly said no. She had used an AI tool to edit an old baby photo of herself to make it look like his child. She forged the handwriting. She made everything up. Minjun's jaw tightened. He let out a slow, angry breath. "She wanted to break me," he whispered. Ada and Amara sat together at a rooftop cafe that evening, laughing as their sons played nearby. Minjun joined them, quieter than usual. Ada looked up. "You okay?" He nodded. "I almost believed a lie." Amara raised her brow. "What happened?" He told them everything: the letter, the photo, the test, the truth. Ada's hand clenched for a second, but then she let out a small laugh. "Well, you attract chaos." Amara shook her head. "You should have told us. We're not your enemies." "I know," Minjun said, voice low. "I just didn't want to hurt you again." Ada looked at him, really looked. "You didn't hurt us this time," she said. "You just reminded us how important truth is." That night, Minjun sat alone on his apartment balcony. The moon was full. He thought about everything: the past, the lies, the babies, the love, the pain. He had lost his perfect image. But somehow, he had gained something better. A family. Even if it was strange. Even if the world didn't understand it. And now, it was time to build something new. Not just for the boys, but for himself. 2 months later, the world saw another headline. Billionaire dad launches Truth Foundation for single mothers and fatherless children. The foundation was built in Ada's name and funded by Amara's first music tour. Together, they created a space for women like them, strong, broken, beautiful, and real. At the grand opening, Ada gave a speech. "Some families are born perfect. Ours was born from pain. But what matters most is what we do after the pain." The crowd stood, applauded. Minjun watched with tears in his eyes. Amara placed her hand on his shoulder. "You did something good." He smiled. "We did." But just as peace was settling, a man showed up at the event. Tall, black suit, dark glasses. He walked straight up to Amara and said, "You think your story is done? You haven't even heard mine." The tall man in black stood silently as Amara stared at him. The crowd around the event slowly quieted, sensing tension. Ada walked closer. Minjun joined them, his heart pounding. "Who are you?" Amara asked, her voice calm but firm. The man removed his glasses. "I'm Daniel," he said. "I'm your brother." Gasps. Even Amara's knees almost gave way. "My brother?" she echoed, confused. Daniel nodded. "We were separated when we were young. I was adopted in Canada. I found your name in a hospital registry after years of searching." Tears welled up in Amara's eyes. "You're real," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "You're not alone anymore." She hugged him tightly, sobbing against his chest. Not from pain, but from joy. For once, a stranger brought a blessing, not chaos. Weeks later, the Truth Foundation opened 2 more branches. One in Lagos, one in Atlanta, run by single moms, supported by successful women. The media no longer cared about scandal. They told a new story. From shame to strength, the women who changed the billionaire's world. Ada's business expanded across Asia. She became a keynote speaker at women's events and started a podcast for African women building global brands. Amara's music won awards. She wrote an album called Two Mothers, One Promise. It topped charts. Minjun took a step back from the spotlight. He focused on the children. Every Saturday, he cooked for them, terrible food, but they ate it anyway. Every birthday, he showed up. Every night, he called. Not as a perfect man, but as a present father. One night, as the sun dipped over Seoul, the whole family gathered in a quiet garden near the river. Ada, Amara, Jadena, Taemin, Daniel, and even Minjun's parents, who finally came around. Taemin was on Daniel's shoulders, shouting, "Faster, Uncle D." Jadena ran to Minjun, holding a flower. "Appa, this is for you." Amara leaned her head on Ada's shoulder. "We made it," she said softly. Ada smiled. "We're still making it." Minjun watched them all in thought. "I started with lies, but they gave me truth. I broke hearts, but they gave me healing. I lost everything, and somehow, I found a family." The stars sparkled above. The children laughed. The women smiled. And the man who once lived two lives finally felt whole. That was another tale from Folktales by Blizzy, where stories live forever. If it made you smile, please like, share, and subscribe for more amazing tales.